All right, so we are officially going to launch our Sizzling Summer Facebook Live. I'm going to introduce myself again. Hi, I am Gina Sunderland, Food and Consumer Relations Specialist Dietitian with Manitoba Chicken Producers, and I'm so happy to be joined here by my son.
I'm Joel Sunderland.
And we've got these great recipes to show you this evening, but before we get started, I am going to have Joel go through his favorite and probably the most important food safety tips that you can use to ensure that you have a very happy and healthy summer and nobody gets sick. So go ahead, Joel.
So before you do any cooking, you should always wash your hands with warm soapy water for 20 seconds.
That's a good one.
And the second tip is when you're cutting any chicken or any other meat, you should always use a plastic cutting board because it makes it really easy to clean. And you should try to wash it in a dishwasher if possible, or if not, wash it in the sink with hot soapy water.
Exactly. And then we always have another cutting board in our kitchen, right?
Yeah, for cutting other things like your vegetables, your bread, everything else.
Yeah, and you can use a wooden one if you like for that. Yeah, all right.
So then the last thing is a meat thermometer. For chicken parts, you want to put it into the thickest part of the meat, and you want it to be 165 Fahrenheit or 74 Celsius.
Exactly, and the other recipe that we're going to be profiling tonight uses ground chicken.
So that's also 165 Fahrenheit or 74 Celsius.
Right, insert into the thickest part of that burger patty. Yeah, thank you, Joel. It's so important. Food safety is key, and it just keeps everyone happy and healthy. So we are now going to launch into our first recipe of the evening, and I want to again say welcome and thank you everyone for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful Manitoba summer evening. So our first recipe is called chicken cutlets with Asian slaw, and you just make this terrific marinade. Joel's going to show you how easily that comes together, and then a lot of the same ingredients go right into the Asian slaw dressing, so very minimal ingredients. Hey, before we get started, Joel, just a little trick about this recipe, right? A lot of people ask me what a cutlet is. So, what's a cutlet?
So we have ours here. It's just a really thin piece of meat. That makes it really easy to cook.
Yeah, so these are skinless, boneless chicken thighs, and they are already made for you in cutlet style, and it means that they cook nice and quickly. So Joel, we spent a little bit of time together going through the manitobachicken.ca recipe page to try and find the perfect summer recipes for this evening, right? And yeah, so let's just share why in particular we want to do these two recipes tonight. One of the reasons.
So Father's Day is coming up,
It
so
sure
we
is.
wanted something nice to do for my dad. So me and my mom are going to make these recipes for my dad for dinner on Father's Day.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just thought they're also really nice recipes for graduations coming up and candidate days coming up.
Yeah.
Now that you can have gatherings outside, that'll be something good to do. You can make these recipes, and they're really easy to make as well. So
That's one of the things Joel was looking for, right? It's like, I like to cook, but it's got to be easy. And you know what? That's something, too, that a lot of Canadians have reported. I was looking at some recent food trend data, and Canadians, maybe a small silver lining of everything we've been going through for the last year and a bit, is that Canadians are cooking together more than ever as families. And in fact, they're cooking together 5 times a week. But the most important thing is they are looking for those easy and, of course, delicious recipes. And these fit the bill. Another thing we've realized is that these recipes also travel well, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so super easy. We'll give you some travel portable tips as we go along. Okay, so let's get this marinade going. So we start out with 1/3 of a cup of soy sauce. There we go. And for a little bit of tang, we've got 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar right there. It's always that balance of the salty, the sweet, the tart. 2 tablespoons of our brown sugar. Sometimes brown sugar sticks a little bit. You know, it's humid, eh? So there we go. In she goes. 2 cloves of chopped garlic. Perfect. A tablespoon of a hot sauce, like a sriracha. There we go. And then, excellent, excellent. And then we've got a teaspoon of our sesame oil. And you can find these recipes in the links today in the comment section. You can also find them on manitobachicken.ca. And then we actually have a tablespoon and a half of freshly chopped ginger. Oh my goodness, it just smells so wonderful. Okay, Joel, so that is already smelling fantastic. And I'm just gonna get you to whisk that up. And you just want to make sure that that sugar really dissolves nicely so it can get evenly distributed throughout the marinade. And then this is just so simple. You simply pour it over your skinless, boneless chicken thighs. And another thing we love about this recipe is that it uses the boneless thighs. So I think you were talking to me about that a second ago, about why you love thighs, eh, Joel?
Yeah, they're just really nice and tender. They've got a lot of juice in them.
They do. Yeah, they're nice and tender and juicy. And they cook quick when you open them up and put them on the grill. Now, you can marinate this just like this in a pan and get these nice and saturated. And they should marinate ideally for 2 hours. I marinated them for as little as 15 minutes, and that works well too, but you get more flavor a little bit longer. And if you're like me and like to get things ready the night before, you can pop them in the fridge in this pan cover, or you can pop them in a resealable freezer bag. And this is the ideal option for taking out to your campsite, to your cottage. You've got these marinated ahead of time. You seal them up, put them on ice in the cooler, away you go, and you're all set. So that is the first part of this great recipe. Thighs, because they're thin, they cook quickly, so it really doesn't take that long, about 3.5, 4 minutes per side. But of course, using Joel's tip, using that meat thermometer to make sure your chicken's cooked. Now we're moving right along to our Asian slaw, and I love this. And Joel's made this recipe for me, and I love when I'm working all day and someone else cooks for me. And he's got a sneaky little tip that he wants to share for all of you that might be bringing this recipe out to the campsite or cottage.
So yeah, if you want to save some time, you can just skip making the slaw yourself, and you can just buy it packaged in a bag already at the grocery store.
Yeah, that packaged slaw, it's got a date on it, it's all washed, ready to go, perfect.
And it travels well too, so if you're camping or something, you're going to the beach, it works really well.
It really does. Yeah, we're going to a park for a barbecue. Okay, so the way we're going to make this sauce, first we're going to make the dressing. And like I said, a lot of the same ingredients. Okay, so we've got our rice vinegar. We've got about a tablespoon of rice vinegar. We've got a teaspoon of canola oil. We've got about 1.5 teaspoons, again, of that delicious Asian sesame oil. We've got a tablespoon of our brown sugar, and we know that that kind of gets a little, there we go. And about 1 teaspoon of our sriracha, or our hot sauce. And I'm going to get Joel just to whisk that right up for me. Get it nice.
Brown sugar is a bit clumped up. So.
That happens, yeah. Can mix away. All right, that's perfect. So now, Joel, what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to pour that dressing over the slaw, and I am going to add about 2 grated carrots. So this type of cabbage is called Napa lettuce or su choy, and we love it because the dressing really clings to all the little crinkly bits. And we're going to add some carrot, about 2 grated carrots, and you can use whatever your favorite vegetables are. You can use red cabbage, you can use, like Joel said, the bok coleslaw mix. And then we've got about 5 of these sliced onions. And we're just going to mix that in and just simply toss it. You can make the dressing as well ahead and bring it out in a little mason jar to your cottage, to your campsite for your picnic. And then, if you would like, you can simply plate the slaw and put your cooked chicken thighs right on top. And you've got your beautiful cutlets with Asian slaw. So chicken cutlets with Asian slaw is recipe number 1. Now, of course, Facebook Live wouldn't be a Facebook Live without great prizes, eh, Joel?
Yeah.
So we are going to offer, you're just commenting or asking Joel or I a question this evening, we are going to enter your name into a draw to win one of 3 $75 grocery gift cards. And we'll send you a direct message after our Facebook Live. And then tomorrow morning, like magic, if you are a winner, you will receive an e-grocery gift card in your inbox. So go ahead and ask us questions, share your favorite Sizzling Summer recipe. We are so delighted to be able to have the opportunity to engage with all of you at the end of this event. And for anyone that's just tuning in, welcome to our Sizzling Summer Facebook Live. I'm Gina and this is Joel, and we're with Manitoba Chicken Producers making these delicious summer recipes. So our next recipe is our mini chicken burger sliders. And again, we love this one, of course, because it's
really easy to make.
and it's also
tastes really good as well.
Right. So there's a couple secret ingredients in this recipe. Hey, Joel, we call them kind of secret. So you want to talk about those ingredients a little bit?
I guess the first thing is the oil here. So
right.
when you're working with ground chicken, it likes to stick to your hands. So if you just dip your fingers in oil, it stops it from sticking.
And we're going to just show you how well that works. All right, so we have 1 pound of our lean, beautiful ground chicken here. Very, very nutritious choice, very versatile and delicious. And into this recipe, there are a couple neat ingredients, and we love it because it just gives so much flavor. So, first one,
some lemon juice.
Right?
So
how about half?
this is a little bit of a weird ingredient, but it adds a bit of tang to it. And it just really adds some nice flavor.
It does. It sort of brightens it up. It
Yeah.
makes all those other toppings you might put on their pop. Yep. So half of a juiced fresh lemon, and then the other kind of interesting ingredient is our 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. And that ingredient just really binds the chicken together and it keeps it really nice and moist because ground chicken is so lean. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Joel. And then we've got half a cup of our panko crumbs. I'll get you to pop that in. We've got a clove of minced garlic. There you go. We've got 1 teaspoon of dried oregano and half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. And then 1 to 2 chopped green onions. Or you could use regular onion, but they look pretty when they're cooked. And then you're just gonna mix that together for me, Joel. Combine it really well. You don't have to over mix. Now, one of the great travel secrets about this recipe is you can make up a whole bunch of these burgers, either little sliders or bigger full-size classic burger patties, and wrap them in saran and pop them in a freezer bag, and they freeze beautifully for 3 months. So we always have these on hand in our freezer at all times. And just while Joel's mixing that, I just want to thank people for tuning in. We're always so grateful for everyone that joins us and participates in these Facebook Lives. I also want to take an opportunity to thank all of our Manitoba Chicken Producers farmers that have been there for us throughout this entire time, ensuring that we as Manitobans always have access to that delicious, nutritious, and protein-rich chicken. They've worked hard, they've worked diligently, and they've been there for us. And we are just so fortunate to have that fresh chicken in our grocery stores year-round. So a big, huge thanks to all of our farmers. Okay, that's looking awesome, Joel. And now I am gonna do that little trick and show everyone just how easy it is to make a patty with this. So it just gets all mixed up, if you can see that. Now I'm gonna do that little sneaky trick. Just a little bit of oil on my hands, very simple. And now we're making sliders, right? So these are a little bit smaller, so just round it out. And then you just give it a little bit of flattening. And these are awesome because when you put your barbecue on high, they take, literally around 3 minutes per side. And there's not a lot of shrinkage when it comes to working with ground chicken, like some of the other ground meats, because it is so lean. There's not a lot of fat. So they just, whatever size you make them, you're pretty much assured that they're gonna stay to that size. So if you're making bigger burgers, make your patties the size of the bun. All right, so we're showing you just how simple it is to make those. Now, of course, Joel is very diligent, and I am too, about washing hands when we cook together or cooking at any time. And I have just touched that ground chicken, so I am going to zip over and give my hands a quick wash, and then I am excited to pick up my phone and check for all your questions and comments related to our recipes, related to grilling and summer. All right, just like that, I am back. So here we go. So someone is asking how long cooked chicken can sit on the table without going bad. That's a great question because that is an important food safety tip as well, especially during the summer. Now, leftovers should be put back in the fridge within 2 hours. We always recommend a shallow container so that they are placed in a single layer and they're put into the fridge so they can cool down quickly. Now, if you are out at a picnic or a campsite and it is quite warm out, you need to be extra careful, and those leftovers should really get put away as soon as possible. As soon as the meal's done, they need to get put away. And of course, keeping foods like raw chicken or other meats to travel out to a campsite or cottage should always be taken out in a cooler on ice. So thank you so much for that comment and question.
What if you're bringing stuff for lunch to like work or something? How long could it be out?
If you have a fridge at work, it should definitely go in the fridge. And if you don't have a fridge, get a thermal lunch bag and use an ice pack. Very important. Good question, right? Because it's just that little bit hotter, or even taking your lunch and traveling in the car. All right, so we had a really awesome question here. Oh my goodness, people really listen to some of the information we shared. Linda said, I thought cooked chicken temperature should be 180 degrees. Can you confirm? Thank you, Linda. That's great. If you are going to roast a whole chicken, another one of our favorite meals, the internal temperature of that whole roast chicken should be 180 degrees Fahrenheit or 82 degrees Celsius. Chicken parts, skin on, bone in, skinless, boneless, or ground chicken should be 165 degrees or 74 degrees Celsius, like Joel mentioned. So thank you. It's so important to clarify that. That's great. So we have a question, Joel. What's one of our favorite ways to flavor filled chicken breast? So I guess if we were stuffing it, you know, if you have a stuffing that's really flavorful, probably just a little bit of
I'm not sure if I've ever made that, so.
Right, because you like it to keep it really simple and straightforward. Yeah, you know what? For doing like a roast chicken, or if you have a stuffed chicken breast, we have a Manitoba chicken spice that I love, and just a little bit of salt and pepper and sage and rosemary. It is great. Also, this marinade that we just made this evening is just delicious on any type of chicken. I've done it on chicken drumsticks. I've done it on chicken breast. You can even baste a whole chicken with it. Oh, so Erica's asked, how long can you keep the dressing in the fridge if you make extra? Yeah, Erica, that's a great question. You know, there's really nothing in that dressing that would spoil. There is a little bit of fresh garlic, but certainly with the vinegar in that dressing, you could have that in the fridge for a good week, and it is delicious. So yeah, make a double or triple batch and you can use it on all your salads. Princess Greta said, what would be an ideal temperature for storing these chicken cutlets as made ahead for a dinner to bring along to camping? Well, I would actually recommend cooking them once you get out to your campsite, but you want to keep cooked chicken at fridge temperature, or you could make these, marinate them, cook them, and freeze them and bring them out, you know, in a cooler on ice. Or if you're going to cook them ahead of time and you want to have them cold on top of the slaw, like we're showing you here, then make sure they stay at 4 degrees Celsius. That's fridge temperature. Okay, 4 degrees Celsius. Well, we're getting tons of great food safety questions. Someone has asked, once you add mayonnaise to cooked chicken, like a chicken salad, how long can it be kept in the fridge? Leftover chicken should be thrown out after 3 days, or in other words, you can keep it in the fridge for 3 days. So from the day you make it, you've got a couple more days to use it. Yeah, these are just super, super, super questions. Thank you, everyone. Much appreciated.
Yeah, she was asking about the mayo. So
once you've added mayo to cooked chicken, like for chicken salad, how long? Yeah, so it can be
it wouldn't affect.
Yeah, as long as you didn't let it sit on the counter. You know, if you made your sandwich and then put it back in the fridge, what was left over in a container with a tight lid. Yeah, so adding mayonnaise to cooked chicken to make chicken salad, you got 3 days. Day 1 is the day you make it, and then 2 more days. You know, we've got some awesome information too on our website, manitobachicken.ca. If you go under cooking school, if it's hard to remember all of this information, or if you don't want to scroll back through this video afterwards to find that information on food safety, check out our cooking school on our website, our cooking school page, and we've got all of these great food safety tips stored right there for you. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to me at any time with any chicken cooking related question. I'm more than happy to answer them at any time. And share comments even after the event and I'll answer them. Someone's asked again about the sauce. You could make the marinade ahead if you wanted, but if I made the marinade ahead, I'd pour it on that chicken and put it in the fridge overnight. So Rose is asking if we can actually freeze the cooked chicken burgers and how long can you keep them in the freezer? Well, that's a great question. So you could, in fact, cook up a bunch of chicken burgers. You could wrap them, freeze them, and they're perfect in the perfect in the freezer for 1 month, Rose. And yeah, that's certainly a time-saving step. Take those frozen cooked chicken patties out of the freezer and put them in the fridge the night before and let them thaw overnight in the fridge. Wow, so these were just absolutely fantastic questions. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in and joining us on this absolutely spectacular Manitoba summer evening. Joel and I are so happy to have had the opportunity to cook with you tonight and to share these great Manitoba chicken recipes and to answer all of your wonderful questions. We really appreciate everyone's participation in joining us. And on behalf of Joel and I and Manitoba Chicken Producers and all of our farmers, we want to wish everyone an absolutely wonderful, happy summer. We will be back with more recipes and more information before long, but enjoy those special grads, enjoy Father's Day, enjoy Canada Day, and certainly make Manitoba Chicken part of your celebrations. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. It's been our pleasure. Take care and we'll see you soon.